Matt Atchides here from Rotten Tomatoes on this side. Look at this. Everybody's having fun over here. Boom, right? And Ben Mankiewicz in the studio. Okay, look at that. So what we're going to do is we're going to review a couple of movies. How you doing, Ben?
I'm good. I'm good. It's good to be here. It's odd to be in this chair.
It is. I think
Jill's
that's
chair.
Yeah, that's the first time you're in that chair.
Second, I've been here before, but it still feels like Jill's chair.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to review two movies today for you guys. One is 2012. That's coming out this weekend, and that's you're going to be shocked to find out it's an end-of-the-world movie. I think it's the first time that this has happened, so it's groundbreaking.
That Roland Emmerich is doing a movie about the end of the world. He's really, really pushing himself.
Matt, now that we're on it already, what are some of the other Roland Emmerich movies?
10,000 BC was his last one, which wasn't quite the end of the world. It was
that was
more
kind of the beginning of the
exactly,
world.
Sort of the beginning of a world that will end suddenly in a later film.
Exactly. In fact, on a certain level, maybe this is the sequel to 10,000 BC. Before that was The Day After Tomorrow, which was an end of the world movie. He did Independence Day, which was an end of the world movie. He did Godzilla, which is an end of New York
movie.
End of taste.
Stargate, which was an almost end of the world movie.
Okay, so he's got a niche and he's working it. He's working it. So we all watched it. So Ben, let's start with you. What do you think?
Did The Patriot, which was an end of colonial rule movie.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people forget this. He had directed Universal Soldier.
Oh yeah.
Yes, which is an end of life without Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
I don't know which one of those was more unfortunate, but let's see how he did in 2012. What do you think?
Oh, we're not running the thing.
No, we skipped that
We
part.
skipped that part. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we've summarized already a little bit about it here. Roland Emmerich, who directs these, who hasn't done an apocalyptic movie in literally days, has done another one. If you saw The Day After Tomorrow, you have essentially seen this movie. The manifestation of the end of times is, I was going to say different. It's only slightly different. Largely, a lot of the same things happen. What has happened here is that, and I had to write this down, solar neutrinos are streaming from the sun. They heat up the Earth's core, and that causes the crust to break free and the continental plates shift. And essentially, we have the end of times. I thought going in that it was all going to be based on sort of something peculiar and sort of regarding the Mayan calendar, that it was going to be much more highbrow. But that's almost coincidental. They give a scientific reason for it, and all hell breaks loose. John Cusack is our everyman hero. Jackson Curtis he plays. He's a sci-fi writer, a failed sci-fi writer that everyone has read. Oddly enough, he's a failed sci-fi writer, but he's got like a hardback book. He didn't have to self-publish or anything. And Chiwetel Ejiofor has read this book. He is the chief scientist, the aide to Danny Glover, who's the president of the United States.
Right, now to be clear, the book doesn't have anything to do with the prophecy.
No, but
right,
they quote from it.
Yes.
Like, I mean, they quote from it, It's
I think in one point in the
movie,
movie,
it's Great Expectations.
I think at one point they said that like 477 people had read it, but magically every single one of them worked in the administration.
Yeah, I know. It's, again, one of maybe 700.
It was an influential book.
One of maybe 700 things in the movie that I found preposterous. You are looking here at a plane taking off, and the plane takes off, flown by Tom McCarthy, who's a writer-director, an actor, writer-director, and a very good director. Directed The Visitor with Richard Jenkins, wrote and directed it. He was in The Wire, playing the sort of journalist who was interested only in furthering his own career. Really interesting roles. I don't know what he's doing in this movie, but he's a pilot, and he flies the plane out of danger as the Earth's core is literally splitting behind him. They barely get the plane. It's also splitting in front of them. And that scene, no exaggeration, happens 3 times. The exact same thing. Oh no, we can't get the plane off the ground. Go, 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 go. Oh, we made it. We can't get the plane off the ground again. This just happened. Go, go. We made it again. And then they get a bigger plane and the same thing happens for the 3rd time.
In Las Vegas, because now it's a popular show, and so you have to do it bigger and better, right?
Right, in Las Vegas, they have to do it in Las Vegas.
It's a bigger plane, and it goes over the Venetian, and it's much more exciting.
I think you guys are being a little uncool here, because what happens in Vegas is supposed to stay in Vegas.
And what happens is that if the Earth's core is about to collapse, and Vegas will like land on Shanghai unless they can get that plane up. And I want to actually refer to that scene again slightly later. But by and large, I think you're talking about a movie that's too long. It's more than 2.5 hours. It is,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is, as I mentioned, incredibly repetitive. I don't mean this as a slight necessarily on Roland Emmerich. When I say it's too directionless, I don't mean like he didn't do a good job directing what was expected of him. I think he probably delivered exactly what was expected of him. It just, it never seemed like, I mean, they had to get to a certain play, had to get to safety, but it seemed random, and it was just one thing happening after another. Obviously, incredibly repetitive, too broad. I initially thought that I could tolerate it, and then as the days went along, I think it's among the worst movies of the year.
That's a good conclusion. You landed that plane in the right place. Okay, so what's your thoughts?
You know, you bring up the plane taking off, and at one point after the movie, I'm sitting next to Kate Tyler of Metro Media, who says, you know, I'm not sure that plane would have taken off that way. And I said, Kate, if you start asking about the physics of this movie, you're lost. Like the minute you start thinking about that, right? Like you can't, because one of the things if you're going to enjoy this movie, you have to put any knowledge of physics at all outside of your mind.
Yeah, by the way, thankfully, that's not very hard for me.
Right.
Yeah, I was able to do that easily. Yeah.
You know, on a certain level, the movie kind of feels like it almost started to feel like Roland Emmerich's greatest hits. Like, okay, we're going to destroy the White House. We've seen this, but let's do it again. And this time we'll do it with an aircraft carrier. And, you know,
that's right. Just repeat that, just
right.
in case people, an aircraft carrier.
Right.
Hits the White House.
Right. Exactly.
Ironically, the USS John F. Kennedy. Right.
Yeah.
Destroyed by a president that was very powerful.
Yeah. So, having accepted all that, Matt, did you then enjoy it, or could you still not get it?
You know, my take on this movie is the best. I was thinking about this when I was talking to my girlfriend later. I said it's like having 8 orders of French fries. You know, and from McDonald's, like one order of fries would be pretty tasty. And if you really forced yourself, you could probably eat 8 orders, but you'd be really sorry you did. And that's kind of how I felt about this. Like, I kind of felt dumber for having watched this movie.
I love you guys, man. You guys did not spare anything here. This is like the cratering of the movie.
Now, I will say there was one moment in the movie that I thought I couldn't figure out if it was subversive or not. There's a scene where it's Danny Glover as the president talking to Ejiofor, who, when I first saw him on the screen, I thought, what the heck is he doing in this movie?
He's a really good actor.
And he's great, but you know, he's in the Oval Office, and it's Ejiofor, and it's Tandy Newton, and it's Danny Glover, and Oliver Platt, and the 4 of them are discussing the fate of the world, and it's 3 black people discussing the fate of the world, and I thought, 10 years ago that would be crazy subversive, but now it's like.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
no, but that's okay. So then let me get started. Okay, time to take the gloves off. If these 2 weren't bad enough. No. Look, first off, on that point, the most Afrocentric movie ever. Okay, not only do you have that, okay, but at this point, it's become a cliche. The president always has to be black, and the smartest guy in the movie, the engineer, the scientist, the doctor, also has to be black. It has to be. Now, in this case, they had a president and the smartest guy.
Right.
So they both had to be black, and so everybody in the room was black. Okay? But then I don't want to give it away.
Who's the bad guy in it?
Uh-huh.
The heavy guy.
Yeah, you know?
Which I take umbrage to.
Yes, a lot of us do. And then what's the one continent saved at the end? I don't want to give away anything, but okay. I mean, at the end of the movie, I turned to Ben and I said, is Roland Emmerich black? Okay, so that was kind of funny, but it's a cliche. Like if it was the first time they'd done it, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting and that's great. The 88th time I've seen it, I'm like, oh, you couldn't get Morgan Freeman, so you got Danny Glover, right? So then you get to the movie is absurd. It's absurd. Okay, so the whole world is crumbling. You kind of saw it in the trailer there, and he's driving a car through it.
Right,
I mean,
a limo.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, oh no, it's done. I mean,
right.
Like this is just, but then it turned into a comedy because I don't know if you guys, we were all in the same theater. People started laughing out loud.
Oh, I was laughing. Absolutely. I mean,
I was laughing.
in this movie that you're just
and
are hilarious.
Not where humor was intended, I don't think.
Oh no, not at all. Of course, that's why it was great. I mean, Ben, you've gone on a lot of movies with me. I don't think I've laughed out loud that much since Old School.
Yeah, old school.
I will say
real quick, seeing Old School with Cenk, really embarrassing.
I will say that this is, maybe giving away how I'm going to feel about how I'm going to review Men Who Stare at Goats. I laughed more in 2012 than I did in Men Who Stare at Goats.
Absolutely.
And I'm not
Totally
sure
agree.
that was supposed to happen for either movie.
No, absolutely. That's exactly right. So now, but the funny thing is, the one thing I disagree with Ben on is, I thought it moved right along. That's why you said 2.5 hours. I didn't realize it.
Squirming. I was
Oh,
squirming.
really? No. Because then, again, to Men Who Stare at Goats, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm staring at a goat, right? But here in 2012, I mean, things are exploding, this, next thing you know, and I thought in the middle of the movie, I'm like, I know this movie's absurd. I know it's ridiculous. And they do every cliche in the book. I mean, like, you don't have to, if you're in film school, you don't have to watch any other movie. Just put this in and go, this is every cliche. It's in there, right?
Yeah.
Like, because when there's a countdown to the end of the world or whatever is going to happen, it's never 3.5 minutes. It's always 1 minute left. 59, 58. I'm like, and then they take 20 minutes to do whatever they were doing. I'm like, okay, come on, put a little extra time on the clock. But having said that, at the end, I know this is outrageous, but I didn't really mind it that much. I was like, I was amused, and I got sucked into the suspense, even though it's patently absurd.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? It was a little fun if you accept that it's like the worst movie ever.
And
you see what I'm saying?
I think any good review of this movie, and Roger Ebert, by the way, gave it a good review, so you stand among giants. The only argument would be that it delivered precisely what anyone going to see it would expect it to deliver.
Exactly. That's right.
I don't think, I have essentially take care of 4 dogs, and, when I go out in the yard to clean up after them,
what you did.
I expect that at the end of it, I'm going to be holding a giant bag of crap. Just because I expected that doesn't mean that it's a great thing to have in your hand.
Well, and on a, not to get too philosophical, but like, should we be accepting of that kind of fluff in film?
Right.
Like,
I think no.
I don't think that we really should be. I mean, yes, it's kind of, this is one of those movies that it's almost, I'm almost embarrassed to say I enjoy while I watch it, and then afterwards I think, what do they just do for 2 hours? Oh my God.
Yeah, my final thought on it is this. Look, normally I think, the system that at the movies has makes sense. If for the guy at home, do you want to go and spend the money to watch it at the theater? Do you want to rent it? Or do you want to skip it, right? So, but this one turned that on its head, right? Because I wouldn't really recommend you waste your time watching it at home. But in the theater, okay, if you know what you're getting and you're interested in holding crap and,
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. If you're interested in holding crap, go.
And you like end of the world stuff, because I like end of the world stuff, and I loved it the first 8 times. On the 9th time,
right? And if you want to see what it looks like with the JFK, if were to crash into the White House, this is the movie for you.
Look, I don't know. I don't like talking a lot about special effects because I'm generally not impressed by them or unimpressed by them. I'm just they're like a placeholder until you go on with story, of which I think here was really weak, and I don't think they cared, so it doesn't make any difference to them. But I don't. That didn't seem all that impressive to me. I thought, oh, that's a computer program where the aircraft carrier.
How could it look? Yeah, and how could it look real?
Really heavy music.
I feel like what Emmerich is going for, because you saw this in Independence Day and you saw this in Day After Tomorrow, it's the spectacle of destroying international landmarks. Ooh, what would it look like if the White House got shot down, got blown up by an alien ship?
I think that's right. And you know what? And I don't want to get too heavy either. We saw landmarks destroyed. They were actually destroyed, and people died.
Yeah.
And I don't like. I'm not into it. I'm actively uninto it. Like Independence Day, we hadn't had that yet. The White House blew up. It was okay. All right, I'll grant you that one.
Okay, so two tiny notes here to end. Funny, I read an article. They didn't destroy any of the Muslim landmarks because they got scared.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's absurd in and of itself. And if you want to see an end of the world movie that's thoughtful, intelligent, and scary, go see 28 Days Later. Okay, go rent that instead of this.
Well,